Kakadosh, Boker Or, Daf Yomi, Masechet, Avodah Zarah Daf Kavav, Mudalev 2681, whereby the Mishnah, where the Mishnah starts by talking about a Bat Israel. And the Mishnah says, Bat Israel lo tiyaled et ha'ovedet kochavim, mipnei shemiyaled ben la'avodat kochavim. So Bat Israel is not allowed to come and to be miyaledet a ovedet kochavim, right? To help her give birth. Then they call the doula, no? Or something like that. Yeah. Says why? Because she's getting a child for avodat kochavim. אבל עובד כוכבים מדברים לבת ישראל. בת ישראל לא תניק בנה של עובד כוכבים. She also shouldn't give to food, to eat. אבל עובד כוכבים מניקה בנה של ישראל ברשותה. Only with in the house of the Israelite. Not in the house of the כוכבים, because we're going to suspect that maybe she's going to come and she's going to kill the child. So, Tanu Rabbanan, we learned in a Braita. לא תילד עובד כוכבים מפני שמילדת בן לעבודת כוכבים. So you're not allowed to come and to be miyaledet a ben avodah kochavim, because then it's going to be miyaledet ben. So it's a problem. Somebody serving avodah zarah. The avodah kochavim lo tiyaled bat Israel. But maybe they're going to kill them. These orders are mean. So you see from here, Rabbi Meir says that they should not give birth. They shouldn't be the midwife of the Israelite, because if not, they might kill the child. Chachamim omrim no. Chachamim says avodah kochavim miyaled bat Israel bizman she'acherot omdo legaba, as long as people are there. But not between her and herself. Meaning, if it's that she's by herself, no, because then we do suspect that maybe she's going to murder the child. But if it's going to be that she's going to be with other people around, then it's going to be okay. Rabbi Meir, according to Rabbi Meir, even if other people are there, namilo, also not. The zimni dimanech layada aputa the katlale says it could happen that sometimes she's going to put the hand on the metzach, right, and she's going to put pressure. Velo mitchaze, and you can't see it. Meaning, on the top part where we put the tefillin, it's very, very soft. So maybe she's going to come when the baby's being born, she's going to put pressure, and she's going to kill the baby, and they won't be able to see it. Just like it happened, right? That a woman, right? That the Amra lechaverta, that she told her other friend, right? Oveda kochavim b'zilzul, molda yudaita bat molda yudaita, mialedet shel Yudit, right? But she said, he says, this is what, meaning you should have all the numbers that I killed as well. Right? That I'm shofechet damim, just like the ketzef of a nahar. Meaning, she comes and, basically one woman, a goya, was telling to another goya, look at you, you come and you give them, you help them give birth. So she went and she says, you know how many I killed? Right, the amount that I killed, I have a river full, right, of the blood of all the ones that I killed. But the rabbis are going to tell you, lo, here it's not true. The minta be'alma udekimta, right? She's just talking about stam milim. She didn't actually kill them. She was just saying it because she didn't want kilu, that the girl should come and call her something or say something. So that's why she said it. But really, she didn't do that. Meaning that when there's going to be other people on top of her, right, she's going to be careful. You understand? We say in the two dots, Bat Yisrael lo tanik. So Bat Yisrael should not give to be a wet nurse, right? To give to food to eat. Tanu Rabbanan, we learned to the Braita, Bat Yisrael lo tanik b'na shel Avodah Kochavim. So Bat Yisrael should not menik the child of Avodah Kochavim, megadelet ben Avodah Kochavim. For Avodah Kochavim tanik b'na shel Bat Yisrael, chashuda al shvirut damim. These are the words of Rabbi Meir, because she's going to come and she's going to murder. Chachamim say no. Again, if there's other people going to be on top of her, even if other people are going to be there, why not? Maybe she's going to put a poison on her chest area, and then it's going to kill the child without people understanding. Meaning she comes, she gives the baby to eat, and all of a sudden the child dies, and they don't understand why. But it's because she already put a poison right on top, and people don't realize. Now you needed both cases, because we had both cases. We had the miyaledet and then we had menika, right, which is giving to eat. What's the difference between, why do we need both cases? If it's going to tell you only the case of miyaledet, the rabbi said that it's permitted, right, because it's impossible, because people could see her. But menika, she could put it on the outside, nobody could see it. Meaning she could put it inside of her house, or outside of the house of the Israelite. She comes inside, she already has the poison there, and nobody knows. The katlalin, she could kill the child. So I would say that they agree to Rabbi Meir. And if it was only going to tell us the case of Menikah, that's the case where Rabbi Meir says that it's going to be Asur. Because Shafile Sam because she could do it on the outside. But if it's going to be Mialedet, right? The law of that she cannot do it in such a case without people realizing. Maybe the Ramir holds to like the Rabbanan. So tzricha, that's why you needed both cases to show you the both cases. Also Rabbi Meir and also Chachamim, they keep on going in their shita. The Rabbi Meir is Oser and Chachamim are Mekilim in both cases. Okay, fine. Says the Gemara, Urminhu, we have a contradiction. Yehudit mialedet kochavim bischar avelo bechinam. They're allowed to do it, but only with money. Meaning, as long as you're getting paid, you're allowed to come and you're allowed to be mialedet, but not for free. Some Rav Yosef says bischar shade. He says with schar it's going to be permitted mishum eva, because of eva. What is eva? Because of the hatred and everything. Meaning, if they're going to say I'm not doing it, it's going to cause a lot of animosity. So because it's going to cause a lot of hatred, so therefore you're allowed to do it bischar. So Rav Yosef Lememer, so Rav Yosef thought to say, Olu de ovedo kochavim b'shabbata bischar shari. It's mutar lioled, lioled ovedo kochavim on Shabbat, just like during the weekday because of eva. So right again, but we're talking about that you're getting paid for it. Amaleh Abaye says, Yachla lememala. She could tell her didan de menatre Shabbat b'chalin lahu tidchulu menatre Shabbat b'chalin. She could say 1 second. For the Jews that they are shomeret Shabbat. So therefore, for them, it's mutar lechalel Shabbat. For those that are shomer Shabbat, but for you guys that don't keep Shabbat, it's a suit for us to be mechalel Shabbat. So what's the problem? So he says, right? So that means he comes and he says, that means according to the Shita, he wanted to say that you could also get out of it just by saying, listen, we can't be mechalel Shabbat, but you don't keep Shabbat. But Rav Yosef thought to say that onuki b'schar is also mutar, meaning mishum evad. That means you're allowed to also feed, not only to be mialed, but also to feed. Abaye says, Yachla she could say, if she's a pnuya, I want to get married. And therefore, feeding could actually bother me. V'eshetishi, now if it's going to be that she's an eshetish, lo kamizdamna be'apegavra. She doesn't want to become like dirty in front of her husband. Yeah? Because you know how it is, that, it since she becomes, like the clothing and everything, it becomes all dirty and everything in front of her husband when she's feeding. So she doesn't want to become ugly in front of her husband. So Rav Yosef thought the same. Had the Tanya that which we thought, right? We taught in a Braita. We're talking about an Oveh Kochavim or a Jew which is a Rueh Be'emadaka from Israel. That means he's taking care of the small animals of Israel. No ma'alim, we don't pick them up from the board. Meaning if they fell into a pit, you leave them there. V'lo moridim, but we don't put them down there. That's only bechinam. But if it was that they're doing it for money, it's going to be mutar mishum eva. So Abaye says, you could tell him, kai beri igra, right? His son is on top of the roof. And if he doesn't go to come and to get him, he could jump off and die. So if he doesn't want to get the money in order to save his son, inami, or if not, he could also say nekita lizimna de bedavar, right? The shilton already told me that I had to go to court. So if I don't go now, I'm going to lose. So meaning that he could basically get out of the reward and not have on a masadi, but just saying, listen, he's got jury duty, or he's got I don't know what. You understand? And then that's it. So Tani Rabbi Avu kamed Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Avu came and taught him for Rabbi Yochanan. Lo ma'alin. We don't bring them up from the pit. Kavav mubet. Velo moridin. 26b. Velo moridin, and we don't put them down into the pit. Aval aminin ve'amesorot, right? Ve'amumarim. Meaning the other one is that you don't pick them up, but you don't put them down. Meaning only if they're already found in the pit, leave them there. But not that you're going to physically put them down in the pit. But a heretic, a moser, somebody that gives over, right? Or an informer, or mumarim, a mumar, hayumoridin, they used to take them down. Velo ma'alin, and they would not bring him up. Amarle, he comes and he says, Ani shoneh lechol avedat oslicha. Says Rabbi Yochanan to Rabbi Yavu, I learned when it says that you have to give back a shavat aveda for any avedat achicha, that includes a mumar. So you have to do a shavat aveda. And now you're going to tell me that you're going to put him in a pit? How could it be that you have to give him back his lost object, but you kill him? You put him in a pit and you just leave him there to die. How does that make sense? So says the Gemara, you're right. Samem mikan mumar. That means you have to take out mumar from that braita. Meaning you have to say haminin v'mesorot, right? The informers and the heretics, but not the mumar. So says the Gemara, "V'lish nele." So why doesn't he come in and say, "Kan b'mumar ochelin v'lo tevon, kan b'mumar ochelin v'lo chis"? He says, why don't you make a distinction between which type of a mumar? There's a mumar which is ochel nevelot leteavon, meaning it's true. Let's say he eats non-kosher, but he's doing it just because he loves pork. He loves a cheeseburger, so he's doing it just because he doesn't want to anger Hashem. He doesn't want to anger God. It's just a pashut. Listen, he's got a tava, he's got a desire, and then he's doing it that way. But if he's a mumar for leachis, to spite Kadosh Baruch Hu, to get him angry, there it's a different mumar. So there's a difference between mumar. So he says no. He says kasavar, he holds ochel nevelo leachis is a heretic, is a min. It's not a mumar. Meaning for him, a mumar is only letavon. Because if it was going to be leachis, it means that he's already a heretic. That's already a min. That's not anything else. Okay? Itman, it was stated, mumar is a machloket Rav Acha v'Ravina. Chadamar leteavon mumar, right? Velachis is minave, right? So one says exactly that if it's going to be leteavon, it's called a mumar. If it's going to be lachis, it's called a heretic. Chadamar, one of them says, afilu lachis nami is called a mumar. Elezo mean, what does it mean? Somebody that does Avodah Zarah. He's a Jew, but he does Avodah Zarah. That's a mean. So Meitve, we're going to ask a question. Achal parosh echad. If a person comes and he's going to eat a parosh or a yitush, so that's considered a mumar, meaning he's eating insects. Here for sure it's a lachis, and it's still called a mumar. So this is a proof that even mumar lachis is still called a mumar. It's not called a min. And so the Gemara hatam over there by lemitan tama de yisur. He says no, he wants to taste what is a tam of the bugs. They say it's good for the protein and that it's this and that. So, they say, listen, they come, they start eating all these rats and all these things. So he says, what, maybe he wants to just taste it. He wants to see, is it really tasty? Is it really good? So he's doing it, the te'avon. So Amar More says, Hayu moridin avlo mo'alin. He used to put them down into the pit, but not bring them up. He says, 1 second. If the Braita already told you that you could take him down to a pit, so obviously you're not going to bring him up. Meaning you don't have to say that. If you're going to tell me that you could take the guy and throw him into a pit and leave him there to die, so obviously you don't have to say that you're not allowed to bring you're not allowed to bring him up. Obviously, so says the Gemara, "Man of Yosef bar Chama, man of Sheshad, lo nisicha." What are we dealing with? Sheima ita ma'ala babor. That if one of these shaim fell into the pit, va'ita ma'ala babor, right, and it was right, it was to bring them up, right, megarera. He's not going to come and he's not going to bring him to, meaning that what happens right now if he fell into the pit and there was madrigot? So how do we know that we don't let him come up? Meaning it's not that we're bringing him up. For sure, we're not bringing him up. That is not a question. But how do we know we don't let him come up? Meaning there's a stairs, but you don't let him come up. Tenaki le'ela, that means because basically you could take it out. Right? He says, no, the reason why I took it out is I don't want my animal, right, to go and to die in the pit. I mean, you're going to tell the guy, listen, I'm taking away the ladder because I don't want my animal to come down. I really know the guy's going to be stuck down there. You understand? So therefore, that's what you're allowed to. So that's the chidush we're talking about. Okay? Rabbi Rav Yosef Damnu Tavayu. Rabbi Yosef both said, Lo nitzicha, what are we dealing with? Va'ita even al pi abor. There was a stone on top of the pit. Mechasa. So you cover it. Amar, you say, Le'abur chivata ilaveh. He says, I need to pass my sheep. Right? So therefore, he puts the thing on top. And he tells the guy down below, I have to pass my sheep by. And then he, Keilu, forgets to take it off. Ravina Amar, right? Ravina comes and he says, yeah, She'im haya sulam, if there was a ladder, Mesalko, you take it out. Amar Baina lechute berim ha'agra, he says, I have to take down my son from the roof. So you take the ladder in order to take the son from the roof. Tanu Rabbanan learned in a Braita. Yisrael malo ovet kochavim leshum ger. Do you know Yisrael could be mala goy, right, to become a ger? Lapuke leshum murna, right, to exclude, that just stam, to take off the orla. Lo, you're not allowed to do that, right? That means let's say you're doing it for refuah, right? So you're not allowed to do that. ועובד כוכבים לא ימול ישראל, but עובד כוכבים should not do מילה ישראל, meaning the חשודים, השפיכות דמים, but they're going to suspect them for שפיכות דמים. These are the words that will be mean, for murder. חכמים אומרים, ועובד כוכבים מה לתיסה בזמן שאחרים עומדים לגרו. Again, you could do it in front when there's Jews around, אבל בינו לבינו לא, but not between by himself. Rabbi Meir comes and he says, yeah, afilu achirim omdim al gabo, namilo. Even if other people are there, also he shouldn't do it. He says, why? He comes and he says, why shouldn't he do it, basically? He comes and he says, the zindin de maslele sakina, right? Because maybe it could be that there's going to be like he's going to push the sakin, umashvele krut shovcha, because he can make him sterile. Meaning he might go, oops, I cut too much. And he actually made him that he can't have children anymore. What does Rabbi Meir hold that an Ovek Kochim cannot do it? He can't do Brit Milah to Israel, meaning we have a contradiction. If you have a city that they don't have a Mohel Israel, but there's a Rofe Kuti, it's better to get the Ovek Kochim and not the Kuti. These are the words of Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Yudah says it's better to get the Kuti, not the Ovek Kochim. So you see from here, the Rabbi Meir holds it's better to get a goy, not a right, not a Kuti. So says Gemara, you're right. You have to switch it. Rabbi Meir says it should be a Kuti and not a goy, and Rabbi Yudah says a goy and not a Kuti. So Savar Rabbi Yudah Ovek Shabedami says what? Rabbi Yudah holds a yes, you're allowed to. What time we learned? Rabbi Yudah says, how do we know that if a goy does Brit Milah, that it's pasul? You have to watch over. It's me, you, your children. Meaning that a goy cannot do it because he's not commanded in doing it. So it's only you and your children. It can't be anybody else. So says the Gemara, you don't switch it around. And here, when he says that it should be a goy, what are we dealing with? He says, with an expert. And therefore, since it's an expert, we're not going to come and suspect that he's going to make him into a krut shuvcha, that he's going to become sterile. The chiyata Rav Dimi was when Rav Dimi came from Israel to Bavel, he said, if he's an expert to everybody, so it's going to be mutar. It's going to be permitted.